but I know. Sorry about that. Hello, guys, one more time, and welcome to Ring Royalty. Today we have a very special top 5, and we have a guest one more time, AndresSTyle, a popular YouTuber here. How are you, Andres?
Thank you for your invitation, Alexis, and I'm very excited.
Today we're going to talk about the top 5 overrated women in history. We're going to talk about the women that took opportunities away from other people. Something you want to say before we start?
Subscribe the channel and let's start.
Okay, let's start.
Okay, guys, my number 5 is Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler está en mi número 5 por muchísimas razones. Creo que fue campeona muchísimos días en NXT innecesariamente. Fue más días campeona que incluso Asuka, solamente que le interrumpieron su reinado con el reinado que le dieron a la pobre Kairi Sane de 70 días. Tuvo victorias en Evolution, salió casi invicta de NXT, estuvo dominando el roster de NXT y no le dio chance a personas como Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, a mujeres que en verdad merecían ser campeonas en ese tiempo. Y cuando subió al roster principal fue exactamente lo mismo. Y no sé si recuerden lo que pasó en el Elimination Chamber, de verdad bastante lamentable lo que hicieron con ella. La primer participante que elimina a todas las contrincantes de la Elimination Chamber, ya sea masculina o femenina, y ahorita le hicieron un equipo improvisado con Nia Jax simplemente para seguirla manteniendo en órbita titular. Y por esa razón siento que Shayna Baszler está demasiado sobrevalorada. Si bien no es mala, no es tan mala luchadora, siento que es una exageración. Y por eso está en el número 5.
I can agree with that, especially with the likes of Bianca Belair or Dakota Kai. I do think they deserve to be NXT Women's Champion, and it was completely unnecessary that Shayna Baszler dominated the whole division for so long. I would say her character and her in-ring work is very unique. However, she could easily have a side feud or a minor feud with someone else without the title being involved. So yeah, I agree with your number 5. My number 5 is going to be probably a name that nobody is going to expect. And it's going to be Brandi Rhodes. Brandi Rhodes has never been women's champion in any company. However, I think she's very overrated when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Not only commentary, but the company as a whole try to make us believe that Brandi Rhodes basically sets the bar of the women's division in the company, when a lot of women in that roster are way better wrestlers. For example, Ali, we have Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida. For me, it's so frustrating. They try to put Brandi in the screen all the time, give her a lot of TV time, and just because she's Cody Rhodes' wife. She's currently feuding with a girl named Anna Jay. Anna Jay has only 1 year of experience in wrestling, and she's a way better wrestler than Brandi. Brandi still looks so stiff, and it doesn't look that professional when she wrestles, and she has already about 5 years of training, so I don't understand.
Ok, como tú lo mencionas, he escuchado muchísimas cosas de Brandi Rhodes. Si bien la tienen mucho en el plano estelar y no es buena luchadora, pese a que ya tiene muchos años, como tú lo mencionas, en lo que es el wrestling. Si no la han hecho campeona en esta empresa es para que no se hable peor de ella, pero apuéstenlo a que pronto la harán campeona de All Elite Wrestling, y siento que sí está sobrevalorada porque es la esposa del dueño o fundador de la empresa.
Let's pray that doesn't happen.
Hey guys, my number 4 is Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, si bien es querida por muchísima gente y WWE no la vende como la mejor luchadora de la década pasada o de la historia, puede que a muchos nos encariñamos con ella y como para su época no era mala luchadora, pero en su momento estuvo muy sobrevalorada. En su momento tuvo un reinado muchísimo más largo del que Becky Lynch actualmente tuvo. No había tantos fanáticos quejándose en las redes sociales, simplemente porque no había, ¿verdad? Pero sí fue bastante injusto porque siempre nos metían a Trish, que la más grande, casi como Charlotte ahorita, A Trish sí no la vendieron y no la siguen vendiendo actualmente. O sea, es la única mujer que ha ganado un solo campeonato 7 veces. Le quitó muchas oportunidades a mujeres como Victoria, Molly Holly, Jacqueline, que fueron atletas que también se esforzaban y no les daban lo que merecían por tener a Trish Stratus siempre en el plano estelar. Hubo una vez que Trish Stratus estuvo lesionada como 5, casi medio año y no le quitaron su título. También fue bastante bueno su retiro el que le dio WWE y a Lita le dieron un retiro espantoso. Entonces se ve el favoritismo que siempre tuvieron hasta Trish Stratus porque en su tiempo sí fue bastante sobrevalorado.
Despite loving Trish Stratus, I do think she was overrated, especially when it comes to her title reign in 2005-2006, because she left the company for 6 months. Trish was never stripped from the championship. I do think Trish deserves all of her accomplishments. She arrived to WWE as a model and then she became the greatest of all time. That being said, I do think that most of Trish Stratus' accomplishments overshadow a lot of women. I would agree that she was overrated in, her period in WWE. My number 4 is going to be a woman that is not considered overrated in WWE, but she was really overrated in TNA. And I'm going to talk about Gail Kim. I always like to compare Gail Kim to Trish Stratus. The difference is that Gail was like the Trish Stratus in TNA. Her WWE run had nothing special, but on the other company, she was a 7-time Knockouts champion. She retired as champion, the same as Trish Stratus. She was inducted in the Hall of Fame. All of that is similar to Trish. And another similarity is that she was overrated. When she returned after her second WWE period in 2011, Velvet Sky was the current Knockouts champion. And Velvet fought for about 6 months against the bullies, against the authority to become the Knockouts champion. She had the support of everyone. She was like the Daniel Bryan of the Knockouts division. For what? For Gail Kim to return and take not only the tag team championships, but once again the Knockouts championship, stripping Velvet of the title only a month after winning it. For me, that was so disrespectful, and it shows that they love Gail Kim so much that they always want her to be the champion. And some other women, maybe in the modern era, like Ali, Laurel, or Sienna, had to wait until Gail basically retired, maybe or to shine. So, yeah.
Ok, a mí me encanta Gail Kim. Yo lo veo por el lado de que Gail Kim sinceramente es una super gran atleta. Para mí, sí mereció lo que tuvo en TNA, tal vez sí fue algo exagerado. Y por esa parte entiendo que esté en este top, porque por los puntos que mencionas creo que estoy bastante de acuerdo. Pese a que me encanta Gail Kim y creo que es una gran atleta, creo que sí fue bastante exagerado lo que hicieron y eso es lo que pienso yo.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. She's a spectacular wrestler, but I think maybe it was a little too much.
Okay, guys, my number 3 is The Fabulous Mullet. The Fabulous Mullet, pues es una luchadora de hace muchísimos años, de la época de los dinosaurios, ¿verdad? Y pues bueno, esta luchadora es muy controversial. Muchos se saben la historia de lo que pasó con ella por la batalla real de mujeres de WrestleMania. The Fabulous Mullet Memorial Battle Royale, como la de los hombres, pero los fanáticos tallaron en cuanto supieron que iba a ser en memoria a ella por todas las cosas que ella hizo en el pasado. En total de sus reinados tuvo 10,000 días de campeona. O sea, ¿quién la va a alcanzar en estos tiempos? Nadie la va a alcanzar. Y pues creo que fue bastante exagerado lo que hicieron con ella y bastante lamentable lo que también ella hizo. Por eso está en mi top, en mi número 3. Incluso de anciana andarla trayendo a ganar campeonatos y súmenle las cosas terribles que hizo. ¿Qué opinas, Alex?
Okay, so the Fabulous Moolah is a very controversial and scandalous wrestler. The reasons that you, or well, most of you, I suppose you know, if not, do some research. She's probably one of the most overrated women in history. I heard that she actually lost the title a lot of times, but she was the owner of the championship, so WWE never acknowledged that Mila lost the title several times and they just continue with her title reign. It was so ridiculous at some point. Even when she was really old, over 70 years old, in 1999, she won her final women's championship against Ivory. Was it necessary? I don't think so. And if they wanted to do that, maybe they could have given that title to Mae Young, like I mentioned in my video over here. Top 10 women who should have been champions. But for Mullet to win another championship over 70 years old, that was a big no for me. My number 3 is going to be a little bit old school. I'm going with Sabo, the embodiment of a diva. For me, Sabo was the first ever diva in WWF. She had a lengthy women's championship reign, and she was a very entertaining character. But that doesn't mean she was a great wrestler. She didn't know how to wrestle, and she refused to learn. She didn't want to bump against the mat. Therefore, most of her opponents had a lot of troubles fighting because they couldn't throw Sable around. For me, that's uncalled for. So the reason she's here is because she was portrayed as the best women in her era, when it wasn't like that. She could have been the most popular one, but not the best one.
Como tú lo comentas, para la época en la que estaba Sable teníamos a luchadoras buenísimas, estaba China, creo que hasta Stephanie McMahon luchaba mejor que Sable. Ganó 2 títulos, me parece, Sable, y uno de ellos tuvo un reinado largo y ni siquiera aparecía o ni luchaba. Definitivamente se merece estar en el número 3 porque ella no era luchadora. Hasta eso la ponían muy a la estelar, muy por delante de compañeras kilómetros mejores que ella. Está bastante justificado este puesto número 3.
Even worse when she became a Playboy cover girl, because I mean that brought the ratings to WWE and that kept Sable as the top star, but it wasn't what people that love women's wrestling wanted to see.
Okay guys, my number 2, tengo un poco de miedo de decirlo porque sus fanáticos son muy tóxicos, pero bueno, así son las cosas. Y bueno, para mí en el número 2 tiene que estar Alexa Bliss. Y bueno, si bien Alexa Bliss es muy hermosa, tiene un personaje bastante bueno de heel, pero sinceramente en el ring deja muchísimo que desear. Ha ganado 7 títulos en WWE, dejando fuera a personas de verdad son talentosas. En su tiempo dejó muy de lado a Bayley, a Sasha, a Nikki James. Bastante lamentable porque tuvo reinados larguísimos. En sus días combinados ha sido campeona más de 800 días en total. O sea, y esos días los pudo haber ocupado otra gente. Encima ganó la primera Elimination Chamber sin hacer absolutamente nada. Ganó un maletín de Money in the Bank en 2018, bastante innecesario porque estaba en el punto máximo de su carrera y todavía encima le dan más cosas. En 2019 le hicieron un equipo improvisado simplemente para seguirla inflando con títulos en parejas. Siento que Alexa Bliss la han inflado demasiado, deja muchísimo en el ring que desear y yo siento que no se esfuerza por dar una buena lucha. 7 títulos que ha ganado, Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber y más logros que ha tenido, yo no recuerdo alguna lucha memorable de ella. Incluso Alexa Bliss tiene las peores luchas de 2017 y 2018 seguidamente. Como actriz es buenísima, es hermosa, pero deja bastante que desear. Alexa Bliss sobrevalorada, incluso por los fans.
What makes Alexa such a big star is because she's a good actress. She's very good at facial expressions. She's really good at selling a story. But when it comes to wrestling ability, she's not the greatest. I am not going to argue with that. She got a lot more than she deserved, at least during her prime in 2017-18. She and Nikki Cross fought in a fatal 4-way for the tag team titles against the Iconics, Kabuki Warriors, and Fire and Desire, Mandy and Sonia. And Alexa and Nikki got the titles. And for me, that was uncalled for because if they wanted the Iconics to lose the championships, maybe Mandy and Sonia, who has been a team for a long time. So that really made me upset. She's great on the mic, great selling a story. I am not going to deny that, but she's not a great wrestler.
Alexa Bliss es la favorita de los directivos y por eso le dan todo en bandeja de oro y por eso no se esfuerzan en dar buenas luchas, porque todo se lo dan en bandeja de oro. La misma Peyton Royce lo dijo, no yo, así que no piensen que la odio.
And for my number 2, I am going to choose another controversial entry. A lot of fans, she has an army. And I'm going to talk about Nikki Bella. WWE always tries to sell the Bella Twins as legendary women, and they put them with the likes of Trish Stratus and Lita. And the Bellas will never be as good as Trish and Lita. They started as models and they improved a lot, yes. They became popular, completely true. But they were amazing wrestlers and one of the best in history? I doubt it. I mean, we have the Daniel Bryan and John Cena situation, but we are not talking about that. To start, Nikki Bella became the longest reigning Divas champion of all time. Reason number one for me is because they wanted to erase AJ Lee from history. And number two, she was already in Total Divas and they were already launching Total Bellas. So she had all the star power in the world. But when it comes to wrestling skills, we have Paige, we had Naomi, we had Summer Rae, we had Emma. And down in NXT, Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte. Most of the roster were better wrestlers than Nikki Bella. So why was she the face of the women's division? I don't understand. I mean, Nikki doesn't deserve to be that high in WWE's history books. She's a decent wrestler, nothing spectacular, but she is not charismatic. I think Brie is way more charismatic than Nikki Bella. So a lot of people might disagree with me, but I am sure a lot of people also agree that Nikki Bella was completely overrated.
Estoy muy en desacuerdo en darle el puesto número 2 a Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella mejoró muchísimo atléticamente y, o sea, y hay divas en su época que ganaron más títulos. Es cierto que formó parte de la revolución porque se dejó utilizar para hacer el estereotipo de diva y destruirla y que ya pasemos a la nueva época. Y sinceramente, por muchísimos años estuvo perdiendo, siendo la Jover de Paige y Gilly. No estoy muy de acuerdo en que esté en este puesto, en el número 2, pero pues tal vez en su momento sí estuvo sobrevalorada.
I just hated the way they booked Nikki, more than Nikki herself. Before we move to our number one position, we always need honorable mentions or runner-ups.
Okay guys, my honorable mentions. First, Michelle McCool. Y a pesar de que a mí me gusta mucho Michelle McCool, pues hay que aceptarlo, estuvo súper sobrevalorada en su tiempo. Y también tengo a AJ Lee en mis menciones honoríficas. Lo sé, no me maten, ganó demasiadas cosas y estuvo como Alexa Bliss en su tiempo.
Another woman that I think is probably getting to the point of being overrated is Rhea Ripley. I think she's great. Her personality, her look, her moves, everything about her is so entertaining. However, I think WWE is giving her way too much importance, and I think sometimes they overshadow the current NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai. I also want to say Bayley, because definitely her current title reign is way too much, way too long. For number one, Andres and I, we both have the same person. Probably most of you watching already know who this person is. Andres, or can you tell everyone who is number one?
The number one is Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair es superestrella femenina más sobrevalorada de la historia. Y eso no lo puede negar nadie. Tiene buenos movimientos, se esfuerza, exactamente por eso se salva un poquito, pero ya es exagerado. O sea, fue la última campeona de las divas, inaugural campeona de Raw, la que ha sido más veces campeona de SmackDown, le dan títulos como si fueran galletas, rompió la racha de Asuka, ganó el Royal Rumble de este año que de verdad era innecesario, apuestas que después gana el Money in the Bank, después gana la Elimination Chamber, después va a ganar el título universal, se lo va a ganar a The Fiend. Si bien, como les comentamos, es una buena luchadora, eso no lo vamos a negar, pero ya es una exageración y claramente se ve que es por su apellido.
I mean, she's a great wrestler, but yeah, some of her accomplishments were not justified. For example, I can't believe when they made Charlotte Flair defeat Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship 2 weeks before WrestleMania, so Charlotte can go as SmackDown Women's Champion against Becky and Ronda Rousey. completely unnecessary, and that killed the SmackDown Women's division. I don't understand, and I think Charlotte Flair has been overhyped a lot, that even Charlotte is tired. There was a point when she was wrestling on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. But I mean, she's great. The only problem with her is the booking. I think, like you mentioned, she's a Flair and she's blonde. And that's everything that the company loves. There is no one in history that has been more overrated than Charlotte Flair. She got all the titles, she made history, and in a promo that I saw on NXT when she was going back down there, it was an amazing promo, but she mentioned herself. She dominated the past, defeating the likes of Nikki Bella, Paige, Natalia. She dominated the present, defeating everyone, the Four Horsewomen, Carmella, Alexa, Naomi, and now she wanted to dominate the future. So, even they admitted Charlotte Flair basically dominated the whole division ever since she moved to the main roster, and she buried and took opportunities away from lots of women. So that was our top 5 of overrated women in wrestling history. I hope you like this video and tell us your opinions in the comments. Is there anyone that should have been in this list? Do you agree or disagree with our opinions? Leave all of that in the comments. Thank you for your support one more time, and thank you, Andres, once again for being a guest in Ring Royalty.
Like the video and subscribe the channel and support Alexis. And thank you, Alexis, for your invitation again.
Thank you very much. Andres is also a YouTuber. He creates a lot of interesting content. I'm going to leave his channel over here. Well, actually, he has 2 channels, so I'm gonna leave them in the description. Goodbye, and I will see you next week. My name is Alexis, as you already know. Here is my Instagram, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Goodbye.